creative Contessa here. I am preparing chicken korma tonight. Some of you may know I have a sip and stew event coming up that is focusing on the glories of korma, so I thought I might share a little preview with you. So here in our pan, we have what is really going to be the base of korma. We have gloriously caramelized onions, we have almonds, we have cashews, and there's some cardamom in here and a whole lot of ghee. I really am a firm believer in ghee. Now, what's going to happen is I'm going to let this cook until these nuts toast a little bit. And then I'm going to turn the heat off and let it cool, and then we're going to add some yogurt and some liquid to it and puree it into this gorgeous paste that is going to be the creamy base of our korma. Now, over here, we prepared the next stage. We have various spice mixtures prepared that will be added to the curry at various levels of the cooking to extract flavors at different stages and through different means. So here we've got our beautiful tejpada, our Indian bay leaves, which are different than the Mediterranean bay leaves. We have our gorgeous Ceylon cinnamon sticks. Notice the beautiful cross section, the millefeuille look, which shows you that it is true cinnamon and not the cheap Saigon cinnamon or Chinese cinnamon, as it's sometimes called, or Vietnamese cinnamon for that matter. We have our green cardamom pods, smell nice and fresh, and whole cloves. Here we have my homemade garam masala mixture. My garam masala consists of 12 different spices, which is way more than any garam masala you're ever going to find in a store that's pre-made. Then we have some paprika and some Aleppo pepper for a little bit of spice. And then underneath of all that, we have some ground coriander. This is the yogurt that will be going into the curry paste, actually. This is whole fat yogurt from grass-fed cow, so it has an extra rich taste, and all of that fat is just going to make this korma extra creamy and delicious. Just so you can see, here's our ghee, organic grass-fed. You see that lovely color right there? It's basically butter that's been purified, so the proteins have been taken out by heating it up slowly. So, those are the key ingredients for the korma. I will bring you some video once we have the chicken stewing in this delicious gravy. More later. So here we are at the next stage of making our korma. And this is a pretty fundamental stage in most curry, in which you take a specific group of whole spices and you sweat them in your hot ghee so that the flavor compounds that are fat soluble are drawn out of them and into the butter, infusing ghee, it's clarified butter, infusing the ghee entirely with those flavors so that the flavors will then be evenly distributed throughout the curry. And unfortunately, the dimension of smell cannot be captured on video at this time, so you cannot delight in these aromas that are coming off of here. We have our Indian bay leaf, the tejpada, our Ceylon cinnamon stick, our green korma pods, and our cloves, and the smell is really delightful. These are such wonderful sweet spices. Okay, so over here, what I was cooking before in the pan, the onions and the cardamom and the almonds and the cashews, I have now added yogurt and water and made this beautiful paste. So you can already get an idea of how gorgeously creamy this is going to make our curry. Infused with the flavor of the cardamom and the subtle notes of the cashews and the almonds, plus caramelized onions, which will add sweetness. Absolutely delightful. Okay, so that's it for now. Once these have sweated, I'm going to actually, which only takes a minute or two, it's basically until aromatic, I'm going to add my chicken pieces and let them cook, saute briefly in this, and then we'll let it stew for a nice long time until it absorbs all the flavors, and then the water-soluble flavor compounds will be drawn out into the gravy, and the meat will become very tender. Okay, more later. So, back again for a moment. I thought we'd address the issue of minimizing waste. You go to all this effort to create these gorgeous flavors and textures, and a lot of people then end up throwing away a good chunk of what they make because they don't scrape their bowls thoroughly, or they leave a lot behind in the blender. So here's my blender, and I've already removed the main bulk of the onion nut paste. But now the recipe calls for water to be added to the pan. So instead of just adding it straight to the pan, I actually add it to this so that I'm going to then turn it on, and the process of the water being moved around is going to get all the rest of the residue in here out, and then I'll dump that whole thing into the pan. thereby minimizing the amount of onion paste that I lose. So this is a tip for how you can minimize your loss when transferring a sauce from one vessel to another. If your recipe calls for water to be added to the main pot, put it in the thing that had the paste sauce mixture to begin with, give it a good stir, then dump that all in there. Also, something that tends to happen a lot is, especially with blenders, you end up with a lot of ingredient, paste, sauce, whatever, up here in these little compartments. So what I do is I just come over, I add the water straight to there, and then add that back to there, so that again, we're minimizing the amount that gets lost. Every little bit helps and will enrich your curry. Okay, I'm gonna turn this on and you don't wanna hear that. Okay, so another tip, pro tip on cleaning your blender. So I did the water trick. You can see there's hardly any residue left. Nice, I got it all in here in my lovely curry. You can see that's already looking gorgeously creamy, and there's actually not a single bit of cream in it, although there's, I will admit, a good deal of ghee, so there's definitely dairy product in here. So now I have added more water to this, and I've added dish soap directly to this, and I'm going to put the lid on, and I'm going to put it back on its cradle and turn it on, and that's how you get a food processor or blender really clean. Don't bother trying to scrub it. Those blades in the bottom are going to tear your fingers, and your rag or sponge or whatever cleaning object you prefer to tear it apart. But the mere action of the water with the soap swirling around will get the entire inside clean, and then you only have to worry about wiping down the outside. Okay, more later. So we're now at the final stage. We have the completed korma. So we've added beautiful heavy cream to it, we've added a little bit of honey to sweeten it, and we've added my favorite green herb for flavoring curries, which is, of course, fenugreek leaves. So now you can see we have this gorgeous, creamy, rich dish with chunks of chicken just floating in it. So what I'm going to do is actually we're probably going to eat all the chicken that's in here tonight, but definitely not all this gravy. So I'm going to take this gravy and I'm going to put it in jars, and then I'm going to freeze it for future use so that I have ready-made korma in my freezer. And all I have to do is take it out, put it in a pan with a little bit of water, and it will reconstitute into this glory that you see before you. So that has been your korma tutorial. If you'd like to learn how to make this hands-on, make sure you come to my Sip and Stew events, February 4th for this one, which for some of you might not be possible, but I promise I'll offer the event again. Stay creative. P.S. Here is the final plated look. We have our beautiful korma, isn't that gorgeous? Rice in the center, basmati rice. And then this is some palak paneer that I made the other day. I'll be doing an event on how to make this at some point soon as well. We're going to eat this now. You'll just have to pretend that you can enjoy it too. Stay creative.